Greetings, and welcome to Discussions. It's hard to believe another week has flown by so quickly. It is Saturday, June the 4th, 2011. The lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer are not far away, except it got unseasonably very cool this weekend after being hazy, hot, and humid during the week. But welcome to Discussions, and I just want to start out by saying that our leaders, well, actually, this monologue that I want to start out with has to do with something I heard in the news. On the local New Jersey news. I believe it, I'm sure it was in the local New York metropolitan area news also, but this was on the local New Jersey station, Channel 12. Conservative Republican, as in con artist, Balloon Boy, Crisco Christie, okay, he recently used the state of New Jersey helicopter to attend his son's Little League baseball game, which is personal use. So he used taxpayers' money for personal use. Similar to the rumor that, they're investigating former Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger for using California tax dollars for personal use also, but that hasn't been substantiated yet. But anyway, Chris Christie attends his son's game, and then of course he goes back to Trenton to entertain business people, I think from the state of Iowa, entertaining people from the state of Iowa, tycoons or elitists. Donors. They're corporate donors. Now, do you think the tax dollars paid for that elaborate dinner?
Yeah.
Interesting. So what I'm trying to say is, since conservatives like Chris Christie like to tell mainstream America, the middle class and the poor, that we all need to make sacrifices because of the state of the economy, we need to make sacrifices. Meanwhile, the elitists and the rich in America, and of course the corporations, do not have to make sacrifices, obviously, because governors, congressmen, and senators are making around $175,000 a year with free optimum health care and free optimum retirement plan. So I don't see them making sacrifices, but it's funny how hypocritical they are when they pull shit like this. I think they should pay for their own health care, pay for their own retirement. They can afford it, and take a cut in pay instead of slashing all programs, all compassionate programs for the poor. Petty things like food stamps or soup kitchens or food pantries that have nothing but garbage anyway for the poor. But anyway, they'll nickel and dime the poor into death or starvation or homelessness. They'll nickel and dime the veterans who deserve a lot more than what they're getting. But for themselves, interesting. No sacrifices here. Oh, by the way, I am here at the newsletter Uncensored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey with my mentor and co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you, sir?
Okay, fine today.
Good.
Excellent.
Now, check out. There's a new photo slideshow with music of William J. Eisenman's collection of fine watercolor art. It is now on the internet, and I checked it out. I tested it, and it works fine. Of course, his new paintings would have to go into a second slideshow to music, which will be part 2. But anyway, it's on the internet. The William J. Eisenman collection. Now, as far as my opening statement goes about sacrifices, and who's expected to make sacrifices in our bad economy, and the shenanigans of conservative politicians using tax dollars for personal use and everything. It's all yours, including the articles, but...
Well, first of all, if the Republicans did what you say they should do, how is that going to allow them to do their agenda, which is to destroy the United States government so that there is no safety net? So they're not about shared sacrifice or doing what you say. This is a deliberate plan of attack against the middle class and poor, because that's what they want to do.
Because
they don't want government to provide for the general welfare, whether it's in the country or for the state. You heard Mr. Eric Cantor the other day say, we can't help out those people in Joplin, Missouri. They'll have to help out themselves.
Gee, how?
Well, not from government money, that's for certain.
Go to the local church and beg?
He says that a family, well, every family probably has something like maybe $10,000 set away for emergency funds or something like that.
Sure.
And they'll have to use that from that.
Oh,
the
really?
man has no idea of what it is to live from paycheck to paycheck. These people are sick in the head.
They think the average American has 10 grand socked away
Set aside, yeah,
for a rainy day.
Yeah.
In this day and age,
Any day and age, it's never happened.
Then why are so many Americans in such deep debt if they really have this minimal amount of money socked away?
Because he's thinking from his paycheck, $174,000, compared to somebody who's making a lousy $28,000.
You think deep down they know the real truth? They just don't want to admit it?
Of course they know the real truth.
They don't want to admit it.
They're evil people.
We're dealing with the devil's economics here. You see how all this is falling into play, and you people voted conservative last year for a conservative-run Congress, and see what happens? They don't care. Once they get in, they want to cull the herd and kill off the masses and weed out. They just want, in other words, what they're trying to do is they're trying to sabotage it so it ends up looking like liberals and big government are the cause of all of our problems by allowing government programs to automatically fail and not do its job and self-destruct.
They're not automatically failing. They're deliberately failing because they put people in there that want them to fail.
And they're not funding them properly to make them work.
That's correct.
I mean, without the funding, let's take workforce, for instance. Okay, you have a government website that tells you a specific job is in high demand. Let's say computer networking technician or medical billing and coding. It'll say, oh, high demand. Okay, government gives you $4,000. You're unemployed or you're poor. You get $4,000 to go to school. You find a tech school that will accept the $4,000 from the government workforce. Let's say you study, you apply yourself, like Republicans tell you, work hard, apply. Like my uncle says, apply yourself, work hard with a big company, a big blue chip company, and they'll take care of you. Yeah, right. This. And anyway, you graduate with high grades. Let's say you make the dean's honors list, and lo and behold, when you start looking for a job, you find out that the job is not in high demand. Actually, you find out the jobs are nowhere to be found. There's no jobs. Now you're stuck with a great resume and lots of education and lots of diplomas and certificates framed and sitting on your wall collecting dust. But no moolah, no income, because the job market is not there. One example of social program that does not work. Others would be your general typical welfare and food stamps and Medicaid. Medicaid. They want, what, they pay a chiropractor $5 a visit or $10? I mean, some ridiculous amount of money they pay doctors. Then doctors don't want to accept Medicaid. And then you have to go to the hospital and apply for charity care. And you have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Finally, you get your charity care card. Or, you know, you just have to go to the ER and then you get bills coming out the wazoo from the... You know what? It all does not work for people that have not. Now, if you happen to be an elitist, you can afford your own health insurance, actually the best. You have your retirement all signed, sealed, and delivered. You're living pretty high on the hog. You have a home. Got plenty of food. Just look at Chris Christie. You got plenty of food. And you don't have to worry about those other things. But these elitists, including the politicians, have, and they don't care about those that have not. Enough said. Continue, sir.
The Obama administration asked the Supreme Court on Thursday to reinstate a policy that allows federal regulators to fine broadcasters for showing nudity and airing curse words when young children may be watching television.
Young children swear worse than their parents. Yeah. Let me tell you.
The administration,
well, depends how young,
is seeking the High Court's review of appeals court rulings that threw out the Federal Communications Commission's rules against the isolated use of expletives, as well as fines against broadcasters who showed a woman's nude buttocks on a 2003 episode of ABC's NYPD Blue.
Was it very curvaceous when she stood sideways? Was it a bubble butt? Was it the sought after gluteus maximus that we all know and love, or was it a very fat cellulite cottage cheese dimply looking ass?
Last year, the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New York threw out the FCC policy, saying it was unconstitutionally vague and left broadcasters uncertain of what programming the agency will find offensive. The challenge to the FCC rules arose over celebrities' use of the F word and the S word on live award shows.
Wow.
Must mean the Grammys or the Oscars. In January, the same court said its ruling on the FCC policy compelled it to nullify a penalty of more than $1.2 million against ABC and 45 affiliates over less than 7 seconds of airtime from NYPD Blue. Acting Solicitor General Neil Cattell, the administration's top Supreme Court lawyer, said the justices should hear the case because the appeals court has stripped the FCC of its ability to police the airwaves. The NYPD Blue episode led to fines only for stations in the Central and Mountain time zones. And that's why we didn't see it.
That's why we didn't see it.
Over here. Where the show aired at 9 p.m. A more child-friendly hour than the show's 10 p.m. time slot in the East. In the NYPD Blue episode, actress Charlotte Ross played a police detective who disrobes as she prepares to shower.
Please excuse the racket in our neighborhood. This is what you get when you go au naturel. You know,
en plein air.
Yeah, with the breeze and the sun and the flag waving and all this fresh air and the smell of jasmine in the summer, whatever, like the song. Summer breeze makes me feel fine.
As she prepares to shower, exposing her buttocks and one of her breasts.
With nipple? Or they didn't say.
For many years, the FCC did not take action against broadcasters for one-time uses of curse words. But following several award shows with cursing celebrities in 2002 and 2003, the FCC toughened its long-standing policy. And by the way, do we know who was Presidente during those years?
Was it Bushy Boy?
Mr. Bushy Boy.
G.W. Bushmaster, which is a very poisonous, I believe,
So in other words,
Australian snake? What?
behind these attacks against these censorship were the religious right, of course.
The religious fundamentalist right-wing kooks, like your Harold Campings and your Pat Robertsons and so on and so on. Oh, by the way, my name is James Piranha Madonna, and of course this is Discussions, and this prop is an imported weapons-grade blackthorn shillelagh from Ireland. For those of you that are wondering what the hell is this guy waving around. All right, see that shamrock? All right. I'm not Irish, but I like shillelaghs. I think they're attractive, and they're very formidable when you crack a conservative over the skull.
The FCC said that some words are deemed to be so offensive that they always evoke sexual or excretory images.
Yeah, but isn't every typical movie nowadays, isn't it chock full of the F word anyway? Every other word seems to be fuck.
Well, they want to
fuck.
protect.
See, we could say fuck. This is corporate and FCC free broadcasting at its finest.
They want to protect our children. Okay.
Oh, the same children, the same teenagers that are looking at porn when their parents are not around on their laptops?
I guess they want to prevent them from becoming Christine O'Donnells. You know?
You mean like,
Like
suppressed, guilty, very guilt-ridden, suppressed...
Well, they don't want them to know anything about sex, of course.
Well, Christine O'Donnell, that supposedly had her boyfriend on a Wiccan altar, on a Wiccan witchcraft altar, she must have known something about sex in order to bring him there.
Well, the religious right doesn't want the kids to know anything about
she couldn't
sex,
have been that shy if she had her boyfriend on a Wiccan altar.
because if they know about sex, then they'll have sex, and then they'll have babies, and they'll have
Wasn't that salt?
abortions and everything.
Yeah, wasn't that Salt and Pepper? Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things.
The policy essentially excluded news programming and some other broadcasts, including ABC's airing of Saving Private Ryan in 2004. So there must be something in Saving Private Ryan. I never saw
Saving Ryan's privates?
Saving Private Ryan. There must
never
be
saw it.
something in there, maybe Coyson or something.
Coyson. The
Coyson,
movies
you know?
today are loaded with Coyson, cursing. Come on. You know, this puritanical, holier-than-thou American attitude is ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous when you figure it out. When you take it to its ultimate conclusion, the people who are promoting this kind of censorship stuff, and yet they have no problems with war, killing innocent people. They have no problem with executing innocent people. They have no problem with
Usury,
other forms of... Well, that goes without saying.
Usury.
Yeah, that goes without saying. But my
greed,
God, if a person gets an abortion, or someone, a kid hears the word fuck on TV or something like that, they go wild.
When it comes to ill-gotten gains,
they're right there.
Involving profit and money, and when it comes to starving out the poor or denying the poor, basic human rights, of survival, food, and shelter, food, health care, that sin is okay in their book. When it comes to greed, which is idolatry, the love of money. But when it comes to sexuality, they're very, very devoutly religious all of a sudden. Maybe some of those politicians that are the most right-wing fundamentalists, religious nuts, maybe they are the most perverted in their private life. Skeletons in the closet, perhaps?
It's probably some motivation, you know. But the point of it is, be fruitful and multiply. That's the command of God in Genesis.
Well, yeah,
concerning
but
sex.
not indiscriminately with every Tom,
Well,
Dick,
now
and
you're
Harry.
adding to it. You don't add to it because that's what the right wing does. I'm saying God granted sex as a positive thing, not a detrimental thing, and not a thing that they've made it into.
Yeah, but in a proper time and place.
The proper time and place back then was that you have as many children as you can.
Because the mortality rate was high.
Plus, you needed a big family because big family, big tribe was wealth. Just like your animals were wealth. There was money was not.
And the average man during biblical times was not monogamous, and you know, they had concubines, they had many wives.
Well, that's usually the rich people had that. Your regular guy, I mean, he's lucky if he had, you know, a woman that he could take around by the hair, you know, put in their cave.
Caveman? They didn't have a shillelagh to cavemen. They had something. I don't know what the hell they had. Stick. Well, you know, this is cured. This is a cured stick. They had their shillelagh was like comparing a cheap luncheon meat with prosciutto.
Their shillelagh was their schlong.
Yeah, their schlong. Have schlong will travel.
Average Americans
Yeah,
who
suckers.
scrambled to meet Monday tax deadline will probably take little consolation in hearing that the super rich pay a lot less in taxes than they did a couple of decades ago.
A lot less. They probably pay nothing, like General Electric paid.
And nearly half of United States households pay no income taxes at all. The Internal Revenue Service tracks the tax returns with the 400 highest adjusted gross incomes each year. The average income on those returns in 2007, the latest year for IRS data, was nearly $345 million. Hey, I sound like the lottery.
You sound like a lottery commercial. The Mega Millions or the Powerball.
Yeah. Their average federal income tax rate was 17%,
Good goobly-goo.
down from 26% in 1992. Of course, what was it in the 40s, 50s, and 60s? 91%.
And like it should be again, the fair tax rate on the rich.
Over the same period, the average federal income tax rate for all taxpayers declined to 9.3% from 9.9%. The top income tax rate is 35%. So how
Really?
can people make so much and pay so little in taxes? The nation's tax laws are packed with breaks for people at every income level.
Political corruption.
There are breaks for having children, paying a mortgage, going to college, even for paying other taxes. Plus, the top rate on capital gains is only 15%. There are so many breaks that 45% of United States households will pay no federal income tax for 2010. It's the fact that we are using the tax code both to collect revenue, which is its primary purpose, and to deliver these spending benefits that we run into the situation where so many people are paying no taxes. The sheer volume of credits, deductions, and exemptions has Democrats and Republicans calling for tax laws to be overhauled. Now, I can assure you that you cannot take these tax breaks.
Oh no, the little guy doesn't get them.
No. So when they're going to talk about overhauling, they certainly aren't going to be overhauling those on the top. who are getting all the tax breaks right now. House Republicans want to eliminate breaks to pay for lower overall rates, reducing the top tax rate from 35% to 25%. So who's going to benefit from that? Just that alone.
True, yeah.
The rich.
It's a little warm in here, isn't it?
With the fan on.
I wish this dog shuts up, or I wish the person who owns the dog lets him in the house.
That dog is not going to shut up. That when she's outside, he goes.
And they leave her outside. Maybe I should go out there and
Republicans
kick some ass.
oppose raising taxes, but they argue that a more efficient tax code, put it on the second one,
All right.
would increase economic activity, generating additional tax revenue. President Obama said last week that he wants to do away with tax breaks to lower the rates and to reduce government borrowing. Obama's proposal would result in $1 trillion in tax increases over the next 12 years. Neither proposal included many details, putting off hard choices about which tax breaks to eliminate. In all, the tax code is filled with a total of $1.1 trillion in credits, deductions, and exemptions, on average about $8,000 per taxpayer.
Well, I think that Obama and today's Democrats, like Obama, are just going way too easy on the elitists, and they are compromising a wee bit too much with conservatives. I think it's just it's laziness. They just don't want to get out there, filibuster, roll up their sleeves, fight for hours, tooth and nail. No gumption, no intestinal fortitude, because I think they're just too lazy to do it, or maybe they're paid off by the same corporate CEOs.
Yeah.
And
that's the problem.
that could be it. I guess if
the government is wholly owned by the corporations.
So, do you think even Barack Obama owes a lot to corporate America?
A lot to Goldman Sachs.
Really?
Yeah.
In other words, he can't tell Goldman Sachs that my loyalty is to my voters and for you to go fuck yourself?
No.
He cannot do that?
No.
Then what would happen? He wouldn't get any moolah?
Yeah.
They'll cut the gravy train?
Sure.
And if they cut the gravy train,
Bye-bye.
and yeah, but guess what? If they cut the gravy train and he comes clean and tells the American people 100% of exactly what happened in every way, shape, and form, the people will vote for Obama for re-election more than ever, because they'll see that he would come clean on national television. He will come clean with the American people, and they will appreciate that and respect that.
But it ain't gonna happen.
Old James Piranha Madonna's psychology.
It won't happen.
It won't happen because he likes the moolah. He likes the money going into his bank account from corporations.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
There are not too many Gandhis in the world.
See? People, the human race. Whether it be capitalism, maybe socialism, communism, whatever. It seems like they all have a price on their head, like Ted DiBiase said, everybody has a price. Do you think everybody has a price, even socialists and communists? And do you think everybody is corruptible in politics?
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody. And if it ain't involving money, it's involving power.
So you say you have to take the money and politics out of politics.
You have to take politics out of politics.
Take politics out of politics.
Politics is pathological. Why deal with it at all?
Yeah.
You know? Thousands of people who know little about the complexities of the judicial system are being forced to represent themselves in court these days because of drastic budget cuts at legal services in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Neither the state administrative office of the courts nor legal services keeps track of the number of people who represent themselves, known as pro se litigants. But Nancy Manuel, manager of litigant services for the administrative office, said it is clear the number of people representing themselves is on the rise. In the special civil section, where litigants without lawyers routinely go, the overall filings went from 502,199 in 2006 to 609,648 last year.
Really? Is there a specific legally binding form available on the internet for people, let's say, who need to file for personal bankruptcy to do it themselves? Does such a thing exist?
I don't think so.
Because you're mentioning pro bono legal aid. That's what this is about, right?
No, this is about you representing yourself.
Oh, it has nothing to do with because you
no
said
lawyers. They can't afford them. State of New Jersey has cut the budgets for legal aid because of Mr. Fatso Christie.
So besides there being no funding for, let's say, Section 8 rent subsidy for the poor, what you're telling me right now is technically, right now there's no funding for legal aid for low-income people in New Jersey?
They have to take only what they can service.
Oh,
Others they have to turn away.
They turn
because
away.
There's no funding.
As, for instance, people that are requesting legal aid now.
It's first come, first served.
First come, first served basis. Okay.
That's it. The issue is a significant one. The pool of available lawyers at Legal Services of New Jersey, which provides attorneys in civil cases for people at or below the poverty line, began to shrink just as the number of cases reached an all-time high.
Oh, that's how they determine it. They probably take the people with the lowest income on the waiting list, the most impoverished. The government has a specific projection as to when poverty begins, right? The minimum
for a person and for a family of four.
I mean the maximum salary. Yeah. I mean the maximum income,
right,
to determine the poverty level.
Yes. Over the past 3 years, nearly 300 of the 703 attorneys have been let go. So almost half. In 2009, there were a record 69,300 new court cases, he said, noting that last year, when the cuts took hold, the number of new cases dipped to 62,000. The agency projects an even further drop in new cases this year to about 55,000. 2 out of 3 people who come to us we can't handle. 2 out of 3.
They're probably understaffed and underfunded also. Well, because they're understaffed. It goes hand in hand.
Legal Services receives its financing from 3 sources: the state, the federal government, and what is known as interest on lawyer trust accounts. And contributions have plummeted. In 2008, Legal Services received $40 million from the trust accounts, which are affected by interest rates. With interest rates now near zero, it is said the funds dropped to $8 million last year. The state slashed financing from nearly $30 million in 2009 to $9.7 million in 2010. Starving the beast. Starving the beast.
You heard it.
With the June 30 budget deadline looming, the legislature is turning to its attention to the problem. The Assembly Budget Committee has held one hearing on the issue, and the Judiciary Committee is scheduled to take it up today. Susan Feeney, the new president of the New Jersey Bar Association, said finding a steady stream of money for legal services and increasing the number of pro bono lawyers, we have an obligation to fill this gap, and it's a priority. Assemblywoman Nellie Powell, Democrat Passaic, questioned whether increasing the fees for filing court documents would help generate more money for legal services. But Grant cautioned that such a move might discourage people from filing valid complaints. No kidding. We are hurting the individuals who can least afford to make up those reductions. I'm hoping that between the AOC and members of the legislature and the administration, we can help to identify possible funding sources or the ability to generate additional revenue so we can provide funding on an ongoing basis. To fill the gap, Manuel said, there are now 3 centers in Monmouth, Union, and Essex counties run by the state court system for people who want to defend themselves. They are always in great demand.
Well, you heard it.
Yeah, well, they hear it, but are they going to do anything about it?
The proof is in the
Stop
pudding.
these goddamn Republicans.
The proof is in the pudding, American people. Whiny, bitching and moaning, protesting Tea Party, middle-class homeowners out there that voted Republican last November. The proof is in the pudding. The evidence is overwhelming that these people are only for the rich, only for the elitists. Like my grandfather used to say way back when, in the 1960s and 70s, he over and over again, he used to say, with a Democrat, with a liberal Democrat, you will receive a few crumbs. But with a Republican, you will receive absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Well, unless you're rich already.
Yeah. He called them a reactionary fascist right-wing conservatives, and he was way ahead of his time. And he was a huge fan of FDR and the Second Bill of Rights. But this is basically it. And then my uncle, my conservative uncle, used to buck heads with him all the time, which was his son. Back then, he was pro-corporate, corporate. Makes jobs, emphasize corporations and the rich. It creates jobs in the U.S.
But your uncle.
Bullshit. It creates jobs in China and India.
Your uncle did not take cognizance of the contradiction that was inherent in his philosophy. Philosophy, you said, was, their philosophy is to pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Okay.
Individualism.
What if you don't have bootstraps to grab?
But your uncle just said, you just quoted him before, your uncle said that get into a big corporation,
a blue chip,
and let it take care of you.
Apply yourself, work hard, dedicate yourself,
and let it take care of you.
But if you dedicate yourself nowadays, you become a sucker and a slave.
But Republicans have this thing in their character. Their character is that they are always looking for that big daddy to take care of them. But they always complain that the Democrats, liberals, are always looking for a sugar daddy.
When in
it's the opposite.
When in reality, it's them.
The liberal came out of the frontier in our country.
You think the same philosophy, you think the same psychology is behind the followers of Harold Camping about wanting a big daddy
well, they're all looking for that.
To give them all the answers and to run their lives and tell them what to do and what not to do?
I don't think I don't think the religious nuts, and I'm including all denominations in there, but I don't think the religious nuts are really out for somebody to guide their lives.
No, they're just nuts.
They want to be in control and guide their lives. If Jesus actually came back today, you think they would want him to guide their lives?
Yeah, what's even
They didn't want him to do that when he was here.
Yeah, his ratings, if you want to talk modern entertainment industry talk here, Jesus's ratings would be, if they were high back then, they would have him on True TV and in the bizarre and unusual section. Like they wouldn't, or it's like today with the media. The media would not give him fair coverage and tell the real truth.
Hell no.
No.
They didn't give him fair coverage back then because he was not probably, but the best preacher of all time, and he really only influenced about 125 people.
Jesus, you mean?
Jesus.
125. He reached the minds and hearts of only 125 people in that whole region of the world.
True people, where he went back and forth. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, he fed thousands, but
Yeah.
he only influenced truly, a small amount of them.
Yeah. Well, he was only there for the Jews, not for the Gentiles. But that's another talk show. But yeah, do you see the hypocrisy with conservatives? But the problem with the right-wing fundamentalists, religious nuts, the right-wing fundamentalists want to control your lives, along with theirs. That's the problem.
Well, they don't want to control theirs. They want to be in control.
They want to be in control. So it's a front for an evil, greedy, power-hungry agenda. It's like the person who has a pizzeria but has a little side business going on in the back.
Karl Marx called religion the opium of the people. My father used to say that religion was there to control the people.
Okay.
And that's 99% of your religion.
Well, Jesse Ventura says organized religion is for weak-minded people.
Well,
organized.
It all goes back to
organized.
It all goes back to the fact that if God exists, if the God of the Bible exists, then there's only one true religion that follows him. So all 99% of all other religions are just the counterfeit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
And then of course you got millions and millions and tens of millions of people who, if you want to call them religion, follow philosophies where there are no deities involved, such as Buddhism, Hinduism. Look at all the gods that have existed in Rome, Greece, and before that. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And at the time they existed, people devoted their lives, their fortunes, their whatever, to these gods. These fakes, phonies, frauds, counterfeits. And then, of course, look at the Catholic Church today. This powerful institution, which has a history of killing people, converting by the sword, torture.
Extortion, yeah.
Torture.
And suppressing science.
And suppressing science, censorship. Of course. And then we treat that as if it comes from God.
I mean, no, it doesn't come from God. Just like when G.W. Bush claimed that he spoke to God every once in a while. I'm sure it wasn't the God of the Bible he spoke to.
Well, if God, he said God told him to go into Iraq, so that screw up, I don't think it was God talking to him.
That discredits
what
that.
A screw up,
I was watching one of my favorite shows of all time that really cracks me up. I'm a huge fan. Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. Larry David really cracks me up. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, and the episode I saw was his friend, who's played by comedian Richard Lewis, was dating this woman. She wasn't Jewish. She seemed like one of those right-wing fundamentalist religious nuts. I don't know if she was a Scientologist. I don't know what she was, but they were kooks. They held Bible study prayer meetings where they're all holding hands with their eyes closed. That whole thing, Christine O'Donnell with the arms up in the air, like they're in a trance, meditating in a trance. Anyway, she was bedridden. She was sick. What happened was she accidentally ate, there were peanuts present in her food. She was very allergic to peanuts, which can kill some people. And she was bedridden, and she refused to see a doctor or go to the emergency room because she did not believe in drugs or medication. She refused to take Benadryl. She wanted to pray and have the Lord cure her affliction or to bring the swelling down. And her face was supposedly all distorted and swollen from the allergic reaction. That's some areas of Christianity have that concept, Dr. Bill, that they refuse to seek doctors.
Yeah. Yeah. What the hell is the
well, Scientologists don't believe it.
I believe what's those ones that come 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday?
Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah, they don't believe in blood transfusions.
Yeah, there's a nuts. They don't believe that God could work through a physician or a scientist.
No, God has nothing to do with it. See, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is not God's world. Why is everybody of the opinion that God is operating through the vast majority of people in this world, or so-called good people, or whatever? This is not God's world.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I have this debate once in a while with Ken Create, who believes every little thing is either, the blessing from God, and you can have a conversation with God, and you can, and he'll meet your needs, and blah blah blah, or it's an attack from Satan. Oh, shit happens. That was Satan that did it. Or temptation. Every temptation has a demon over your shoulder trying to put the ideas in your brain, or anything good happens is from God. Now you're telling me, since it's not God's world, and God is not interested in the common man or in people right now.
He's interested in the elect. That's it. Period.
The elect
now, if
is
the elect
to rule in Jerusalem after the second coming, correct?
If the elect have the Holy Spirit, yes, they can contact God, but you can't. We can't. Because we are not being trained at this time to be the elect. This is the devil's world. The devil is king of this world. He owns the nations. He promised the nations to Jesus in Matthew if Jesus would bow down to him. Jesus is King of Kings when he comes the second time, not now.
See? Not now. And the elect, isn't it arrogance to think that a mere tiny, microscopic amoeba, grasshopper human being can have a conversation with God himself, and that God will be involved in the personal lives of the little microscopic, insignificant, sinful humans? Isn't that arrogance?
Of course it is. It's self-righteousness, the sin of Job. Right?
Yeah.
It's the sin of Job. And as I say, if you own these people, like, they believe that they've gone through a ceremony or whatever, and they received the Holy Spirit. And that's why they talk in that manner. But they didn't receive the Holy Spirit. They're not part of the elect.
Yeah, they think.
Only the elect.
Well, you're talking about people that believe in the rapture, that they're going to fly up in the sky, and whoever's going to be left on the planet will suffer.
Yeah, they
will
believe that
suffer.
a big thing is going to be going on where a vast majority of humanity, those who are born again and those who are going to be raptured up. Yeah.
And they insist.
But that's not what the Bible says.
But see, this is the funny thing. They're insisting that what they believe in is in the Bible.
Yeah, but it's not. The Bible specifically states that only a small amount of people, the elect, will be caught up to meet Jesus as he comes down.
The elect. Now, do you think they're misinterpreting these biblical verses?
Of course they are, but they are misinterpreting them in a way that makes the human more important than God.
I guess it's like Harold Camping misinterpreting the things that he says. Now he's saying, "Oh, I didn't mean it was going to be a literal physical rapture. It's a spirit." Well, hold on.
But hold on.
I've improved in my Harold Camping
Here we
imitation. Are my ears sticking out? Are they bigger than last time?
Yeah.
I don't have big ears. I'm just okay. This is Harold Camping. I did not mean that this was going to be a literal physical rapture. Oh no, you people are wrong. You misunderstood me. It was a spiritual rapture. Everything will happen October 21st? October 21st, 2011. So feel free to send me more money and donate to Family Radio. That's what's going to happen. Everybody who's honest, they're broke, they're poor. And people who really know the Bible, people who are fake, phony, fraud, charlatan, snake oil salesmen, they're filthy rich with donations. Isn't this ironic? Isn't this,
The point is nobody, and they all claim to be Bible readers and studiers and etc. And nobody, during this whole campaign of the end of the world thingy going on, nobody countered him and said, well, wait a minute. The Bible says that there are chronological events that must occur before this end time.
Yeah, but
do you see them occurring?
Yeah, but you know who countered Harold Camping very well? They countered him, but the videos are on YouTube. They're not on TV. They're not on primetime news. Primetime news only shows Harold Camping says. Now Harold Camping says something different. They don't show the other side of the coin, which explains to the public the real truth of what is really in the Bible. The news does not present that. It's almost like they don't want to right the wrong. The media in America does not want to.
Well, the other religious critics are not going to be able to right the wrong because they don't have the information either. That's my point.
They don't have it. Okay, we need to take a break simply because we do. Dr. Bill needs to get his lunch ready because his sustenance, because he researches for so many hours. He works so hard, long hours. The Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey is a 24/7 operation, but he does sleep, though. He does sleep 8 hours. But he needs his vitamins and minerals and enzymes and protein and, what are you knocking on? What the hell is that? Oh, you got protein.
Yeah.
Whey protein.
Yeah.
Is that the one that you used before?
No.
Is it
from the vitamin
Have
shop.
you tried it?
No, I got to put it into a smaller container.
Of course he didn't order from the vitamin shop the whey protein that I told him was the very best value. He had to do...
This was the very best value, called price-wise.
Was it?
2 pounds for like $17.
What is it sweetened with?
I have no idea.
Is it mixed well?
I don't know. I
have
haven't
no
opened it up
idea.
yet.
I haven't opened it up yet. So
I need a smaller
so
container.
so you just shopped price
Price-wise.
alone,
and
like my sister and my grandfather did. Price alone.
wait a minute. Price alone and chocolate.
What about quality of what you're getting for the money?
Chocolate and price. Chocolate. Okay?
You got to weigh the price with quality, pros and cons. Unbelievable. You know what? This is part of human nature.
We'll wait.